Borderlands 4 just keeps on getting better. Every time we see new gameplay, I get more and more excited. I haven't felt this good about a Borderlands game since all the way back in 2012 with Borderlands 2, which now that I think about it, that was my last midnight release I ever went to at GameStop. It was a day before my birthday. I remember streaming Borderlands 2 live on my YouTube channel back in the day. And from everything that I've seen about Borderlands 4, it seems like they're lighting that spark that I had with Borderlands 2, which is really exciting. Recently, there was a big state of play for Borderlands 4 that revealed a ton of new details. We also have a PlayStation blog post that gave us details as well, so we're going to talk about all of that and more. So check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's get started. So after watching the PlayStation State of Play for Borderlands 4, my hype and expectations are now sky high. And no, I'm not talking about the Disney Channel movie, I'm talking about my hype levels for Borderlands 4. Like, dude, they actually did it. They crushed it with this State of Play. Seeing the Magic Man himself talk about the next Borderlands game was certainly a sight to see. Let's first start off by jumping into the PlayStation blog. They said this: Borderlands 4 revealing the Vault Hunter skills, new planet Kairos, and more. Get an extended look at our looter shooter gameplay, our new playable characters, regions of the all new planet Kairos, gear details, and much more. So this was from the creative director at Gearbox Software. They started off by saying this: wreak havoc across the dangerous new planet of Kairos when Borderlands 4 launches on September 12th. They said the team and I are thrilled to give you our deepest ever look at the explosive, carnage-filled gameplay, all running on the PlayStation 5 Pro. We're showing off 2 of our 4 new Vault Hunters and some of their action skills, and much more. They said following the cataclysm seen in the first teaser trailer and the contentious clash of our first look trailer, the tyrannical timekeeper is here to admonish us as we meet our 4 new Vault Hunters in this new pulse pounding gameplay trailer. Now, the 4 Vault Hunters that we can expect at launch are Vex the Siren with wings now, which we got to see that during the gameplay showcase. We have Rafa the Exo Soldier, Harlow the Gravatar, and Amon the Forge Knight. The creative director continued by saying, ever since Gearbox Software created the looter shooter genre nearly 16 years ago, we've continued to refine the formula, delivering more loot and action with every entry. And they said, with Borderlands 4, we truly believe that this team is creating the best, most ambitious Borderlands game to date. They continued by saying this all new adventure is the perfect entry point for new players and existing players. You'll find the awesome gameplay you know and love cranked up to 11 with new movement abilities, our biggest and baddest enemies yet, a vast new planet to explore, and of course, billions of guns to loot. They then said that the Borderlands games are set in an unforgiving sci-fi universe where life is cheap and the guns are plentiful. Now, in the gameplay deep dive, they showed off 2 of the 4 new Vault Hunters, Vex the Siren, who uses supernatural phase energy to empower herself and can conjure deadly minions. Now, we got to see Vex's spectral familiar named Trouble, who, as you switch your weapons, will change its elemental damage to whatever weapon type you're using. And then they showed Rafa the Exo Soldier, a former TDR trooper who wears an experimental exosuit capable of digi-structuring an arsenal of weapons. They continued by saying each Vault Hunter class in Borderlands 4 offers a unique playstyle that empowers you to choose from 3 signature abilities that serves as your action skills. Now, they showed off some of the skill trees, which look absolutely insane, which the creative director said they're delivering the most advanced skill tree system yet, letting you enhance your action skills with special augments and capstone abilities. You could choose from 3 different branching paths of passive abilities that enable an incredibly wide variety of distinctly powerful builds. Now, they then said that each Vault Hunter also has a unique trait that shapes their playstyle. For instance, Vex's trait makes her action skill attune the element of the weapon she is currently equipped, which incentivizes an arsenal of elemental weapons to shock, burn, or freeze enemies based on the situation. They continued by saying one of our guiding design principles for our Vault Hunters is that playing as them should make you feel like an unstoppable force on the battlefield that unleashes action skills to control the flow of combat and blast through enemies with an arsenal of outrageous weaponry. Now, the Borderlands State of Play also introduced a bunch of new movement abilities that I think are going to enhance the gameplay and just the overall experience. Now, the new gameplay movements are as follows. We've got gliding, dashing, double jumping, and point grappling. So the gliding allows the Vault Hunters to kind of hover or glide through the air, which is very reminiscent of the Warlock in Destiny, which I honestly think is a good change. With how expansive Kairos is set to be, having the ability to have like advanced movements that allow you to traverse the map easier rather than having to just run everywhere is a good thing, I think. Like, with how expansive Kairos seems to be, with a new layer of verticality with cliffs and mountains, having that gliding ability is pretty awesome. The next movement ability we have in the game is dash dashing, which honestly, dashing should be pretty simple to understand, so I won't have to explain much on that. But there's also double jumping, which that one is again pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to do a second jump midair. And then there is the point grappling, which is literally just a grappling hook mechanic that lets players latch on to fixed points in the world and then swing or like climb up to certain areas, all with the goal of like helping the player traverse the world. Now, I've seen some criticism about the new movement abilities. Some think that it's a bad thing, it's making the game too much like Destiny. And while I guess that's somewhat fair criticism, like what I'll say is there's nothing wrong with new movement abilities. Like it's only gonna allow the overall gameplay to just be more interesting. Instead of just like kind of running everywhere and just mowing down enemies, like you're gonna be able to like, you know, traverse things. Especially with how the open world is designed, you're essentially gonna have to have this advanced movement to be able to traverse certain things. Now, obviously it was a design decision, but I think it's one that will make the game more engaging and just straight up fun, which honestly, I think more games need to do that. There's nothing wrong with taking risks, even if some of the features are seen in other games. So now let's talk about the world. They said, in Borderlands 4, we're dropping you into the middle of Kairos, an all-new planet rife with warring factions, deadly fauna, and desperate inhabitants. For thousands of years, the oppressor, the timekeeper, kept the planet hidden, controlling its inhabitants with cybernetic implants called Bolt, and an army of synthetic soldiers known as the Order. Now, 6 years before the events of Borderlands 4, a rogue moon suddenly teleported into Kairos' orbit, shattering the planet's protective veil and plunging the world into chaos. Now the denizens of Kairos have started rising up, with some even ripping their bolts out of their skulls, which that right there is the situation that the 4 Vault Hunters have crash landed into, a planet with a population primed to explode, and you're the spark. Now they continued on by saying, in your quest to ignite a revolution against the Timekeeper, you'll meet unique factions that you'll need to recruit to your cause, including a slew of new characters and some returning characters that will be instantly familiar to Borderlands fans. We're delighted to bring back some of the fan favorites, like the legendary Claptrap, Moxie, and Zane, but we're also excited for you to meet some of the charming allies and loathsome adversaries that await you on Kairos. Now, in terms of the overall exploration and traversal, they said, to help you get around Kairos' sprawling, seamlessly connected spaces, you can now summon a personalized Digi-Runner vehicle at will and jet boost your way towards the horizon. They said, we've built a world that exudes craftsmanship and encourages you to explore it at your own pace, with the option for guidance provided by your Echo 4 robot buddy as you take on new enemies, encounter world events, and discover hidden treasures. From order patrols to world bosses, there's always something to shoot and loot as you explore Kairos. You'll also come across short gameplay experiences and new activities that auto-grant a tracked mission whenever you discover them, like silos, which house old decommissioned order tech that you can hijack for the Crimson Resistance with the help of Echo 4. Now, they continued on by saying, gearing up for the fight. In the new gameplay footage, you could watch us go on the offensive across the Terminus range, where one of the Timekeeper's generals, Vile Lichter, has been conducting nefarious experiments. They then spoke about some of the weapons. Obviously, there is a new weapon system in the game where you can have like unique attachments based on the various manufacturers, which those manufacturers happen to be the Order, the Ripper, the Daedalus, the Tedior, the Maliwan, the Jacobs, the Vladoff, and the Torg. So if you've played Borderlands before, you know some of these manufacturers. But then they gave us a breakdown of the fresh characteristics. They said Order guns focus on precision with high-powered bursts. Ripper guns charge up to go fully automatic. Daedalus guns are easy to use and incorporate multiple ammo types. Tedior guns are reloaded by tossing them as grenades. Maliwan guns specialize in elemental damage to burn, freeze, and shock. Jacob's guns can fire bullets as fast as you can shoot them with ricochet on critical hits. Vladoff guns can have high rate of fire and huge magazines. And Torg guns can have heavy-duty explosive rounds that could switch to sticky projectiles. Now, as I mentioned before, there is the licensed parts system, where you can find guns that incorporate the behaviors and abilities from multiple manufacturers into a single weapon. And that brings us to one of the biggest changes, and that is the update to the Legendary system. They said in Borderlands 3, Legendaries dropped too often, devaluing them, and they made other loot feel less special overall. In our new system, not only do guns feel great, but now the Legendary drops will truly be special events. And finally, we have some updates to the gear slots to specialize builds even further. There's the Ordnance that they spoke about in the State of Play, which is a shared slot for grenades and heavy weapons like rocket launchers. And these weapons recharge on a cooldown. It's kind of like an ultimate ability almost. We have the new enhancements, which replace artifact slots seen in Borderlands 3. You can augment your weapons based on their manufacturer, rewarding you with extra firepower when you optimize your gear loadout. And then there's the rep kits, which add utility by letting you heal yourself or activate temporary buffs to help turn the tide of the intense battle. So yeah, from everything that I've seen about Borderlands 4, it certainly seems like Gearbox is taking this step in the right direction. Like, this looks like a huge step up, and like I said at the start of the video, I haven't been this excited for a Borderlands game since Borderlands 2. And that's not only on the gameplay front, but it's also on the, overall story and writing. Like, I'm actually intrigued to see how this story plays out. Obviously, we heard that the toilet humor is kind of not going to happen in this game, so that's also kind of a plus. As much as I liked some of like the funny aspects of Borderlands 3, it was a bit cringe at times. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the story is like and the gameplay is like for Borderlands 4. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on Borderlands 4. If you guys want more coverage of this game on the channel, I will definitely oblige. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your notifications turned on. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.